AI judge or decision maker might actually be seen as perfectly fair and objective in some specific scenarios.
Okay, that's a compelling point.
Hmm.
For certain narrow, rule-based ethical decisions, maybe an emotionless AI is preferable.
But, and this circles right back to the neuroscience and thinkers like Damasio in humans, decision-making, especially complex social and moral decision-making, and emotions are fundamentally inseparable. Our rational judgment is often guided and informed by emotional signals. So while an emotionless AI might be good at specific logical tasks, implementing a broader, more human-like morality without that intricate blend of reason and emotion, well, neuroscience confirms that blend is fundamental to our moral sense and becomes incredibly difficult to even envision how you'd achieve that.
And speaking of bias, there's that persistent myth that AI judgment will somehow be perfectly fair and unbiased, unlike us fallible humans.
That's a huge myth, and it's really critical to debunk it. The appealing idea is that AI, based on pure logic and massive amounts of data, will provide perfectly objective, just, and error-free decisions, free from all those messy human preconceptions.
But the stark reality is that AI is trained on data, often big data, that reflects the world as it is, including all of its historical and present biases, right?
Exactly. If the training data is biased along lines of race, gender, socioeconomic status, or any other factor, the AI system learning from that data will inevitably inherit and potentially even amplify those biases. We've seen examples of this already.
Yeah, that's a major point of failure for the perfect AI judge myth.
And it leads to an even more fundamental question the source raises. Regardless of whether AI can technically make a moral judgment, can or should humans ultimately accept moral judgments made by machines? This strikes right at the heart of the perceived status difference between humans and AI, and whether a machine's decision, even if technically optimal according to its programming, is equivalent in legitimacy or moral weight to a human decision. The tension between the role of reason versus emotion in both humans and AI really exposes the gap between the myth of detached, perfect AI morality and the messy reality of implementation, and importantly, human perception and acceptance.
It's not just a technical hurdle, it's a societal and philosophical one too.
Precisely. And the paper then drills down into specific human characteristics that present both possibilities for modeling and, frankly, immense limitations when trying to build these AMAs.
Like the accumulation of moral experience you mentioned earlier.
Yes, human beings gain moral agency, develop their moral character, learn responsibility through years and years of experience encountering dilemmas, making choices, feeling the consequences, reflecting on them. For AI to replicate something analogous through deep learning, it would need an absolutely colossal data set of structured moral experiences, something far more complex than just labeling images or transcribing speech.
And then there's the implementation of moral emotions, which we just touched upon.
Essentially, yeah. Emotions aren't just outcomes, they are drivers and sensors in our moral lives. Sympathy, guilt, shame, indignation, they motivate us, make us sensitive to others' suffering, help us learn from mistakes. Building anything like this into AI, or even figuring out what functional equivalent is necessary for moral sensitivity in a machine, is a profound challenge. We're not even sure what that would look like.
What about the complexity and sheer variability of human morality across cultures and individuals?
That's another tough one. Morality is complex because it has both culturally relative aspects, like etiquette, specific social norms, and seemingly universal prohibitions, like against murder, theft, harming innocents. Humans seem to have an intuition about these universal moral constraints, while also being incredibly adaptable to diverse cultural norms.
So an AI would need both.
An AI would need to somehow navigate this, perhaps requiring something akin to intuition for universal principles, combined with the adaptability to learn and apply local cultural or social norms. This again points to the need for AI to somehow integrate both reasoning and intuition, which are often seen as quite distinct cognitive processes in humans.
And finally, the relational aspect. You said we are inherently social beings with a social brain.
We are. Our moral development, things like developing impulse control linked to the prefrontal cortex or learning empathy, is profoundly shaped by our interactions with others from infancy onwards. A social brain implies not just the ability to interact, but perhaps even an intrinsic drive or desire for close social connection, which heavily influences our moral framework.
So for AI to genuinely model human morality, would it need something analogous, the capacity and maybe even the motivation for meaningful interaction? That feels like a massive leap from current AI architecture.